When you work in cybersecurity, you learn that secrets aren't usually locked away in vaults. They hide in messages, metadata, and deleted files that never truly vanish. My name's Ryan, and for the past 6 years, I've spent my nights chasing digital ghosts, unfaithful spouses, stolen identities, corporate leaks. I thought I'd seen every kind of betrayal possible, until I found my own. Hannah and I had been married for 4 years. She was stunning, sharp, confident, the kind of woman who drew attention without trying. When we met, she was managing projects at a marketing firm, and I was a quiet tech guy who spoke better in code than in conversation. Somehow, we balanced each other. Or at least, that's what I believed. About a year ago, something began to shift. Late-night work calls, weekend team trips, a new password on her phone. I noticed everything. I just didn't want to believe what it meant. The irony wasn't lost on me. I made a living uncovering other people's lies, yet ignored the one unraveling right in my own home. Last month, Hannah told me she was taking a girls' trip to Miami. She packed light. Too light for someone planning to be gone 4 days. I didn't call her out. Instead, I activated a GPS tag I quietly installed in her car months earlier. It wasn't paranoia. It was instinct, the kind that keeps you from getting blindsided. She left on a Friday morning. I watched her location move south, then stop at a luxury resort, not the budget hotel she'd told me about. When I checked the resort's corporate bookings, my stomach turned. Everline Solutions, her company's biggest client, and their head of marketing, Alex Porter, the same man she'd mentioned a little too often lately. I didn't need suspicion. I needed truth. That night, I sent her a text. Hope you're having fun. Just wanted to make sure you got there safe. 5 minutes later, her reply came through. I'm a free woman, Ryan. Stop tracking me. My chest tightened. I stared at those words. Free woman. It wasn't denial anymore. It was defiance. She wanted me to know. I didn't answer. I just opened my tracking dashboard and watched her on the map flicker. 10 minutes later, it started moving fast down the coastal highway. I assumed she was just going out. Then, 12 minutes after that, the signal froze. At first, I thought it was a glitch, bad reception maybe. But when I refreshed the feed and saw that little red marker still pinned to the same stretch of highway, something inside me shifted. I zoomed in on the map. The coordinates placed her near a narrow bridge outside city limits. No hotels, no restaurants, just water and asphalt. My stomach sank. I grabbed my keys and drove. The night was thick with humidity, every mile heavier than the last. I didn't know what I'd find. Maybe her car parked somewhere quiet. Maybe she'd tossed the tracker out the window, to spite me. But a darker thought pressed against my chest. 20 minutes later, I saw flashing lights in the distance, police cruisers, an ambulance. My hands went cold. An officer waved me to stop. Accident just happened, he said. Single vehicle. Bridge rail gave out. I showed him my ID and told him my wife drove a gray Lexus. His face softened. We pulled her out, he said quietly. She's alive. Barely conscious when we found her. They're taking her to County General. My breath caught. Relief and shock collided in my chest. I drove straight to the hospital, my heartbeat pounding so hard it hurt. In the ER, a nurse guided me to a small waiting room. I sat there for what felt like hours until a doctor came out, wiping his hands. She's stable, he said. Mild concussion, some broken ribs, but she'll recover. When I finally saw her, she looked fragile, bandaged, brace pale. Her eyes fluttered open when she heard my voice. For a moment, she seemed surprised I was there. Then guilt crossed her face. Ryan, she whispered, you weren't supposed to track you. I finished. Yeah, I said softly. I figured that out. Tears welled in her eyes. It wasn't supposed to go this way. I folded my arms, staring at her. No, it wasn't supposed to go this way at all. You said you wanted to be free. Hannah, this is what freedom looks like. She turned her face away, sobbing quietly. I didn't feel anger anymore, just emptiness. I stayed until she drifted to sleep. Then I noticed her phone on the side table. sealed in a clear plastic hospital bag. One notification still glowed on the lock screen, a message from Alex Porter. I told you not to drive. I'm sorry. That name hit me like a punch. Alex Porter, the consultant she'd talked about for months. Late-night texts about campaign edits, strategy calls. I'd met him once at a company dinner. He shook my hand too long and smiled too wide. Now it all made sense. I stepped into the corridor, her phone in my hand, and sat under the harsh fluorescent light. The air smelled of antiseptic and metal. I unlocked the phone. She'd never changed her passcode. Dozens of messages scrolled upward. Photos, voice notes, plans. The kind of closeness she hadn't shown me in months. Then I saw one text thread sent an hour before the crash. Hannah, he keeps tracking me. I'm ending it tonight. I can't take the guilt. Alex, just turn off your phone and come to me. We'll figure out together. My hands trembled. She hadn't just been running from me. She'd been running toward him. But fate, karma, or whatever name you give it, had intervened. The next morning, I went home. Her things were still everywhere. Shoes by the door, a half-packed duffel bag on the couch. I sat at the kitchen table, staring at the divorce papers I drafted weeks ago but never filed. Maybe some part of me had still hoped she'd come to her senses. That hope was gone now. 2 days later, when she was discharged, I picked her up in silence. She tried to speak during the drive, but I said nothing. At home, I handed her an envelope. She opened it, confused, until she saw what was inside. Divorce papers. Signed and sealed. Her lips parted. You're divorcing me? I nodded. You already did that when you texted me. Remember? I'm a free woman. I'm just making it official. Her eyes filled with tears. Ryan, I didn't mean... Stop, I interrupted quietly. You meant every word. And I heard you loud and clear. She sank into the chair, covering her face as the tears came. For once, I felt no anger, no sadness, just peace. As I reached the door, she whispered, "Please don't leave me." I paused, looked back at her trembling form, and said, "You already left me long before you got in that car." Then I walked out, closing the door behind me. 12 minutes of freedom had cost her everything, and given me mine.